Hey, what's up, YouTube? I had a really important question asked to me. What do I do? What do I look at when I buy angelfish, or what I recommend? And basically, I've never thought about, if someone is getting ready to buy angelfish, what you would look for. So, I figured I'd give you guys what I personally would think. First, I would, pick my store that I'm going to buy the angelfish from. I would go into the store, or if you're looking at a breeder's a lot more knowledgeable, and if it's a good breeder, they will talk to you about the fish, obviously. If you go into a store, though, first thing I'd look for is, I wouldn't just look at the angelfish, I would look at all their fish and see if they have ick, or obviously if there's a bunch of dead floating fish, I would not buy fish from there. So that's the first thing I'd look for. I'd look to see if the fish have any ick or any parasites, like anything like that, like anything that looks just weird. Secondly is I would look to see how active they are. Like, as you can tell in my tank, they're pretty active. If they're not active and they're in a corner just hiding and they look, like they're breathing hard, I would not buy from that store. If you buy from PetSmart or Petco, I would just be very careful. They buy wholesale, and when they buy from people that are wholesale, they chop off the tops of the fins of the angelfish. I personally don't like that, but my personal preference. They do that so that they can stock more fish, by the way. So I would look at that. I'd look to see, there is no better or worse gene as far as angelfish is concerned. Blacks are very slow growing. These blacks are almost the same size as these right here. And these guys aren't even like full adults yet, the bigger ones. They're not even like close to being fully grown. So, there is no gene as far as which one's better or bigger or anything like that. That's just, I don't know how, I guess I would say, it's just how it is. There is no better or worse gene as far as angelfish is concerned. The only other thing I would look for if I'm going to buy angelfish is this. I'd go up to the tank and do this. Watch my fish. Just watch. Oops. But watch. To make sure they have an appetite. If they have no appetite, I personally would not buy the angelfish. Even the little ones make a run for the top to see where the food's coming from. So, those are itty bitty. Those are smaller than a dime size, and they go up to the top to go find food. So, that's what I would look for, is, make sure there is no ick. You can't really tell about internal parasites, but if you go to the top and the angelfish swoop to the top, obviously they're healthy as far as they want to eat. But there is no preference over genes as far as that's concerned. There's no better or worse genes. Some people will argue with me on that. I personally don't think there is. Silvers, golds, marbles is basically what you'll find at your local pet shops. You'll find blacks, you'll find smokies. But, if you get anything more exotic, a little bit crazier, there's specific things about those kind of genes and things like that. But I don't think there's anything other than that. Angelfish are pretty hardy fish. For anyone that doesn't know anything about angelfish, just make sure your quality of water is well. And you keep your temperature not really high, but I have mine at 80. I had a friend of mine that had them at 76, and he said they were fine, never had any problems with them. So temperature is definitely, obviously at 80 they'll grow faster than they will at 76. But, that's about it. There's no preference in fins. Some people like little fins. I personally like an angelfish that has really nice big fins, but that's my personal opinion. So, there's no problems with fins. If you get really, really big fins, which that one up there does, it's really small, but I don't know if you can see, it's like side fins, they're just so big, they're like dragging down. The only problem with that is they're not as fast as growers versus the ones that are just standard fins. And none of these in my tank are standard. I would call these black standard. So these right here are not standard, they're a little bit bigger than standard. I almost call them veil. But that's just that's about it. Questions, comments, feel free. I would just make sure they're not sick. Make sure, check, if they're swimming around, they're not super duper active fish, like going crazy, but they swim around. And then check the top of the tank. If they go towards the top, then obviously they're healthy fish. That's about it. There is no preference as far as genes is concerned. Like I said, questions, comments, feel free. Peace.